Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are doing well. Today, for our social studies lesson, we've been talking about the Underground Railroad. We reread the pages in Chapter 4, Lesson 1. You either watched the video lesson or you have looked at, you've reread the pages. And then we watched a couple of videos. You did a vocabulary lesson yesterday. Today, we're going to do something just a little bit more fun and a little bit more exciting, and I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I do. This is a Google Voyage through some of the real-life locations that thousands of American slaves took to get to freedom itself. I will have this worksheet that is going to be in your Google Doc that you are going to, in your Google Classroom, I apologize, that you are going to need to access. And at the very top, it says click here to begin. You are going to click on this link here. When you click on the link, it will bring up this bit.ly site. When you click on this bit.ly site, it's going to bring up this Google Earth, and it's going to take you it's going to load, so it'll take a second to load. And once it loads, it'll take you to this page right here, okay? And so you'll go through and be able to explore. Now, this video, we're going to look at the different sites on our own. And then after you have done that, I want you to go through and explore it on your own as well. So then that way, because this is Google Earth, and I know how many of you love Google Earth. So you're going to be able to click around and kind of view and see what's going on. This is very similar to when we did our Gettysburg virtual field trip. We're going to take the computer and we're going to travel the country just right here, okay? So if I click on this blue button right here, it says Start Exploring. It's going to take me to our first location, which is the Nega River. And over here it tells us, here we are at the river itself in Ontario, Canada. So it starts with over here giving us a little bit of information. Chloe Cooley was living in Canada when she was put on a boat to be sold across the river in America. So Chloe was an African American who was in Canada, and she was put on a boat and sent to America to be a slave. This inspired the 1793 Act to limit slavery, which gave hope to those in northern states who had made their way to Canada. This is what started the whole process of once you make it to Canada, you are completely free. Now, additionally, if you go back into our doc right here, what was the name of the girl who was living in Canada who was sold to America as a slave? The name is right here. Okay, so you're very simplistic. You're going to take the answers are going to be right in the information that you're going to read, and you're going to type the answers right into the Google Doc. Okay, and this is great. When you click on this, it opens it into a whole new page, so you can click between your tabs. I would highly recommend, I know several of you, I taught you how to split screen. I would not split screen on this. I would go between your tabs. That way you can have the whole picture in the page. And this is Google Earth, so you can go wee and roam around and explore the area. Okay, just like I know you do with Google Earth. All I'm doing is taking my mouse and clicking right onto it and being able to explore and look around. Okay, now to go from slide to slide, you're going to use these blue arrows that are down in the bottom right. Clicking the back button is going to take you to previous slides. Using the forward button is going to take you to future slides. So if I click the blue button, I'm going to go to our next location, which is a battlefield in Louisiana. So we're jumping all the way south. We've gone to the north, we're going to the south. Okay, so during the War of 1812, slaves heard stories about the British Army's promise to grant the black men who fought with them freedom. This bolstered Canada's reputation as a free territory, inspiring more slaves to make the journey north, and the Underground Railroad swung into action. This monument right here commemorates the war's final major battle between the U.S. and Britain, the Battle of New Orleans. And again, if we jump over here, where is this battlefield located? Well, it is located right here, Louisiana. So again, I'm not going to go with you page by page looking for each of the answers because I know you can do that yourself. You just have to reread and look for the answers because I know you got this. Okay? So, Louisiana, battlefield. Next, we're going to be jumping and we're going to Wilmington, Delaware. So, the railroad was not a network of trains and tunnels, which we have talked about before. Instead, the name referred to a secret route slaves took, mostly on foot or boat, and the people who helped. Quakers in many states were influential in the abolitionist movement. A few even helped slaves in their journeys north. This church in Wilmington, Delaware, counted Thomas Garrett as part of the congregation. Garrett assisted nearly 2,700 slaves on their journey to freedom. Could you imagine helping 2,700 people? That is a lot and very, very impressive. Great man helping that many people reach it to freedom. Okay. Next, we're going to be jumping over to the John Rankin House, located right here in Ripley, Ohio. This is in southern part of Ohio. Right there is the Ohio River that we're looking at right there. So here is John Rankin's house. Here's the Ohio River. This right on the other side of the river is Kentucky, and was a slave state, a part of that they had slaves. So once you cross the Ohio River, you were able and you got to John Rankin's house. He was the first stop most slaves took before they continued their way north. Okay. Safe stops along the route were called stations. So stations are those safe stops. Conductors were the people who guided slaves to freedom. So John Rankin was considered a conductor because he was helping guide people. He would light a lantern as a signal when it was safe for slaves to cross the Ohio River and reach his home station. Because remember, he's doing this undercover. So he had to make sure to give safety. We're going to jump over to Indiana. This is Levy and Catherine Coffin's house. This is really cool because once we actually get inside the house, come on. Go inside. Maybe not. Nope. It's not going to let us go inside the house. If we click on it, we can see that picture right there. But this is another station. Oh, hello, Aria. This is another station where well-kept secrets, often the homes of the abolitionists who helped slaves reach the next stop. Levy Coffin's house was dubbed the Grand Central Station after he and his wife helped countless slaves continue their journey to the north. So this is another great station house and two more well-known conductors, Levy and Catherine Coffin. Then we're going to jump over to the famous lady we spoke about yesterday, Miss Harriet Tubman herself. We're jumping over to Maryland. A common misconception of the Underground Railroad is that it relied heavily on white abolitionists. In fact, some of the most active members were the former slaves who chose to go back to the South to help, and Harriet Tubman was one of those famous ones. So, and we've talked about this. People that made it to freedom, made it to being free, a lot of those former slaves went back and helped get more people to freedom. Oh, this is the one I was thinking of before. Uncle Tom's Cabin. This is great because we're actually going to get to go inside Uncle Tom's cabin as soon as it opens up. And please make sure that when you jump into this one, you are moving around and clicking around, because you can see the house is actually set up exactly the way it was during this time period. Okay, so you can see lots and lots of different things. That's where they wash their hands. Could you imagine washing your hands in that bowl?
No.
No, there's no sink. So you that's how you took a bath. Would you want to take a bath like that?
No.
No, that's not feeling you. So, although Tom is a character in Harry Beecher Stowe's novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, his story was inspired by the real-life abolitionist Reverend Josiah Henson. After being sold multiple times, he eventually escaped using the Underground Railroad to freedom. This museum is on the same site where he and his wife eventually lived. So, he and his wife eventually lived here. And so you can kind of explore and see what their house looked like. Got 2 more places. We're going to jump over to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to see the Liberty Bell. Highly recommend, great place to go to if you ever get a chance to. This is our famous Liberty Bell. That is one of our historical landmarks. Pennsylvania was an influential state in the abolitionist movement. Many slaves referred to it as the Promised Land, as many Underground Railway activities were organized from here. The Liberty Bell, once rang from Pennsylvania State House, became a symbol of the abolitionist movement because of its inscription, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land, unto all the inhabitants therefore." So the Liberty Bell was just that. Liberty for everybody. Freedom to all. Right? Yay, freedom! No. She's just as enthused as when you guys are when I make your arms move like that. Yeah. And then finally, the U.S. Senate House in Washington, D.C. And we talked about this at the very end of Chapter 4, that the 13th Amendment is what was added to the Constitution. Gibbs! The 13th Amendment is what banned slavery and marked the end of the Underground Railroad. But again, the 13th Amendment, it banned slavery for the entire country. No more slavery. Right? Yep. 13th Amendment, banned slavery. So now it is your turn. Make sure that you're going back through, you're answering each of the questions, but explore and see, especially in, see how you can hit the back button and it'll take you to the other places, especially the Liberty Bell and the State Senate House. These are historical sites and great places that you can explore. Make sure to look around, especially if I can get back to it, at the State Senate House. It's really, really cool. Look up at the ceiling, okay? Because even you can look all the way up at the ceiling and see all the historical art that is being put together in this place. So it's a great place.
I think there's light.
Yeah, there's lots of things there. Okay, so now it is your turn. Go through and answer the questions. Explore Google Earth yourself and make sure have a great time.